Hi, we're here at ACTFL to talk about mastering Spanish through global debate with two of the authors, Nieves Pérez Knapp and Krishauna Hines-Gaither. So what is unique about this book?
The book has 6 chapters, and we're using the methodology of debate as a communication strategy for the students to be able to talk about high-level topics. Mm-hmm. And so we have 6 different topics that will enable the students to be able to use strategies of persuasion, of hypotheses, of being able to pull together high-level sentences and high-level linguistic formations to be able to defend their topics. Mm-hmm. And so I think that is really unique because normally you do not see the strategy of debate as a methodology for language instruction.
Yeah, right. Anything to add?
I would just add that the idea is to bring students through the ACTFL advanced proficiency level to the superior. So that's what, there is not a lot of materials to help students at that proficiency level.
Right. Can you talk a little bit about the process of developing the book?
Right. So Nieves, the lead author, reached out to me and also to our co-author, Morella, and invited us to assist her on the project, which we're very grateful for. We used some of the books that were already in print, such as Mastering English Through Global Debate. We used those as kind of a guiding model, but then we had to refine that and make it our own because our target language is different, and that also means the target culture was different. So we needed to bring in topics that more directly aligned with the Spanish-speaking world. And so we wanted that alignment there so that it was more authentic for students to be able to use. And so our writers are from all over the Spanish-speaking world, for example. Our examples, our images, we try to be really intentional about making sure that what we presented in the book was representative of the target culture. We have 6 topics throughout the book that present opposing sides, opposing views that students can use to then elaborate on those and use those as the topics of debate for their discussion. They can also relate those topics to current events. And so, as books are, sometimes the topics may be about something that may have happened a year ago or 2 years ago. They can still use the foundational material and adapt that to current events and current topics.
For sure. Great. What do you hope that instructors will get out of this book?
Well, instructors will get a scaffold method for their students to advance to the proficiency functions, needs. They will work text type, they will work connectors, so the students can really talk about these topics, and then at the end of each chapter they have a real debate. Also, the book has rhetoric strategies embedded in every chapter that they don't need to be debate coaches, but they can use those techniques or they can adapt to whatever their needs are.
Yeah. How can instructors tailor this book to suit their needs in the classroom?
Well, the 6 topics, although they are very focused on Spanish-speaking countries' needs, Spanish-speaking countries in these global issues of the world, the 6 topics really align very well with the English ones. So we even opened the door to have students, for example, in our classes that are learning Spanish, and then students in another country, a Spanish-speaking country, that are learning English. They could even have real debates among them. For example, I had a couple of experiences with a school in Spain. So our students, through a platform called Flipgrid, they talk about the different issues of the book, and it was a real authentic experience with natives from on the other side of the world, and their way to approach these topics was very interesting as well.
Anything to add?
I would only add that the topic of debate, it can be sensitive. Mm-hmm. And so you have some people who may not be as comfortable with the methodology of debate. What I would say is don't let that be a deterrent at all, because the way that the book is structured, we're presenting topics. It doesn't necessarily have to be the way that you personally feel about the topic, but you have to be able to give an educated argument concerning that topic. And there are a lot of scaffolded materials throughout the book that will help you to get there. I think for the educator, you ask messages for the teachers. I think community building is also an important aspect. We don't focus on that tremendously in the book, but I think whenever you want students to engage with one another, having some opportunities for them to get to know each other is always really helpful within that process as well.
For sure. That sounds really enriching.
Yes.
Yeah. And I wanted also to add that there is a writing component that can be used. So the textbook really scaffolds really well to end up in a debate, but the students have listening activities and they have writing activities and a lot of vocabulary building, even using the Corpus del Español to add collocations. So they're increasing the lexical ability really much.
What ancillary materials come with this book?
So the book has two ancillary materials. One is the audio files, and there is audio files of 2 audio files per unit, and there is for the 6 topics. So the first one is just a recording of the main article, and we have purposely every one is by an author from a different Spanish-speaking country, and the accent of the recording is sometimes the same author, him or herself, or somebody with this from the same country. And then the second one is a model debate, and that has been done by students in my class. So they have authentic American students that are debating these topics as an example of what to do. And then the second component is the answer key for the teachers. So it has answers for the multiple choice questions and then sample for the open response ones.
Great. So that's our questions, but is there anything else you'd like to touch on relating to the book before we kind of sign off?
I feel like this book is relevant for so many different types of learners. And so I feel like it is relevant, of course, as Nieves said, for the students who are at the advanced level trying to reach the superior level. It's also relevant for heritage learners. And so there aren't a lot of curricular materials for our heritage speakers. This book would be wonderful for them. It's a book that could be really great for advanced learners of Spanish and also for native speakers of Spanish as well. So I think it has a broad reach in terms of who could access this textbook. One other topic that I would add is that it could also be an accompaniment. And so if a teacher is not using it as their main text, I think it would also be a great book to add in addition to a textbook that they may already be using.
For sure.
I want to say that the different topics are not built upon each other. They can choose whatever, and even I've taught piloting these materials for 3 years now, and every year has been a different experience with some of the topics because of what was going on in the world. And also that I'm very grateful that some of my students have moved along the advanced scale, 1 or 2 sublevels measured with OPI. So it has been really effective.
Yeah, that's great. Well, thank you so much for sitting down and talking to us about your book. This is Mastering Spanish Through Global Debate.